Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to USA Global TV and Radio. I'm Dr. Jackalyn KERBECK, and our show today is Women in Business. Yay! Empowering women. I love this. We are going to be discussing areas where business owners are potentially leaving revenue and profits on the table. We don't want that to happen. Our guest today joined us, I think it was last week. We had a great chat over the weekend, and I'm really excited that she is back. Her name is Dr. Jackalyn RAINOSEK, and she is joining us from the great state of Texas. Let's find out what she's been up to. She's an acclaimed speaker. She's also an author. She's an entrepreneur, and she's a profit-building consultant. Welcome, Doctor, to the program.
Thank you so much. I'm delighted to be here today.
It's nice to have you. And as I was just mentioning, I felt like we had this chemistry from when we met. And I thought, I really want to know more about the work that you're doing. And you do work in several areas. You have a very interesting background. I would love for you to share a little bit more about your work, starting with therapists and moving on to where you are today.
Thank you. I'll be happy to do that. I was a therapist for 18 years and did a lot of family therapy, and also provided a lot of groups and things like that. Then I decided at some point that I would rather do something else, because I had met a woman that was really outstanding, Ann Wilson Shea, and she showed me a different way of doing work. So then I decided, okay, I need to be moving away from therapy and doing more of the coaching, because I have a certain way of doing that really intensifies the growth pattern for all my clients. And so then I started in the coaching and organizational development. Today, I also have another business I'm going to talk about, which is DTP Business Strategies. And I look forward to giving more information about it, because it's really a special way of looking at businesses and finding revenue and profits.
And isn't that extremely important? Doctor, I'm wondering if you can share with us, what are some of the skill sets or key learnings that you've taken in your earlier work and brought in as an entrepreneur?
Well, I think that as a entrepreneur, because I've been doing it for 47 years. So the thing that I thought that was really something I brought in is what I did bring in a lot of the knowledge I had about how family systems work, because many times family dynamics in organizations are very similar, and it's easier to look at the organization in a much larger perspective. And so I learned to do that. I've also been famous for working with family organizations, so I have a greater understanding, because it's different than working in an organization that's not family based, because you're looking at three levels in a family organization. You're looking at the executives, the employees, and then you're also looking at how the family's interacting as they talk about the business.
That's fascinating. Thank you so much for sharing that. I know when I was in my corporate career, I learned a lot of things that I never actually put to use until I started my own business. So I'm wondering, we have an audience of women, maybe there's some men who are watching as well. Do you feel that as a female entrepreneur, that the road we travel is a little different than anyone else's?
I do think it's different. I do think men have a greater opportunity to build their businesses, and particularly white males. I'm not picking on them, but you see still in our boards and in our corporate, large corporate, public organizations, you see more presidents that are men. And I think it's a challenge for us. However, I think that women can meet that challenge, and we're seeing it all the time. I belong to a group called Private Directors Association, and there are loads of women that have private businesses. And I think we've moved away from corporate America in order to have our own private businesses, and that's how we're successful.
Yeah, I agree with you. I appreciate that. And I'm wondering also, as a business owner, I have two businesses myself. I am very involved in the business. Many times I literally take a step back and go, okay, I've got to get out of the business and got to be looking into the business. But I'm sure that I'm leaving money on the table somewhere because you can't be everywhere all the time. So, what is your experience and what can you share about how we can step out of the business to be really that eagle flying over it?
Thank you for that question. It's a great one. I think what happened was in March of last year, I decided that I needed to look and find something unique and different because I had been changing cultures and doing diversity work and doing all kinds of things like that for years. So what happened was I happened to join a organization that's 800 coaches in the world, and it had a software that just blew me away. It has, they developed it in 17, it's taken them 17 years to develop it. It has 497 million weighted algorithms who sequentially analyze 40 different areas of a business. And I literally can sit down after doing either a Jumpstart 40 or a deep dive 40 with a business owner or a corporate executive and tell them exactly where they're leaving revenues and profits on the table. And to me, that's an exciting thing to be able to do. It's very different from some of the things I've offered before.
That is a winner for sure. That is really exciting. What does the business owner have to do in terms of the commitment they have to make from a time perspective or the information, the data that they have to gather in order to do this work with you?
Well, it's very simple. And I do not charge for the first meeting that I have with them for an hour and a half. All you have to give me is your revenue for last year, your gross and net profits, and give me a little bit of history about your business. And then I can go and take the software and give you a great deal of information about it. So, I think that that is the easiest way to do it, and it's very simple, and it's really non-threatening because I'm not asking for a lot of information.
It sounds like from what you just shared, it's basic information that all entrepreneurs should really have and know
Mhm.
with like the back of their hand. Yeah. So, in doing this work, what are some of the outcomes or takeaways that your clients have experienced?
Well, for an example, I had a friend of mine who's been in business for a number of years, had some health issues and was really having some difficulties and so forth. And I went through the Jumpstart 40 with her. And when I got through, and I said, we're going to do very conservative numbers. We're only going to suggest that we're going to have an increase between 1% and 5%. And when we got through with the assessment, she looked at me and she said, I've really felt really disturbed by what has happened to me with my health and things. And she said, now having looked at that report, Jacalyn, I know exactly what I have the possibility to do. And I believe your numbers are very accurate. So that's one example I can give you. There's several others as well.
I think that's fascinating. So, if you were, let's just talk about my business, for example, a television and radio platform and projections of growth and where it is that I'd like to take the business. If I were to work with you and you would do this, what did you call it with the 40?
It's the Jumpstart 40 or the Deep Dive 40. And they're different because the deep dive looks at much more detail. So if I were taking your business, all I would need would be your revenue and your gross and net profit for last year, and then your history with what you're doing. After we could decide the Jumpstart party, I could take an hour and a half with you, and I'll show you 4 or 5 areas and show you what the possibility is. Then if you're interested, we can talk about a way that you can even do a very deep dive, or you may only want to do the Jumpstart 40 because it doesn't include as much about a sales team. Or if you have a sales team, you have a team of people, so you might want to do the deep dive. The difference is in the price, but right now for your particular show, I'm going to offer the same price for the deep dive 40 that I normally offer for the Jumpstart 40.
That's very generous. Thank you for sharing that. And for people who are out there and they're thinking, well, I have this type of business or I have that type of business, it doesn't matter what the business is. You can work with anyone in any type of business.
Yes, and that's the thing I love about this software. It doesn't matter what business you're in, because I'm working with a law firm right now. I'm working with a startup. I'm working with an IT CEO who's gone through it. In fact, he said to me, "I know what they're doing on the software. I can." It's amazing to me what they've developed. And after we got through with the deep dive 40, he looked at me. He said, "You know as much about my business or more than I ever did when I started with you." He said, "The questions you've asked me are so detailed." He said, "I have a much greater understanding of what I can do with my business."
And I'm wondering, with the interview that we had previously with your work, you're a certified dream builder coach. Is that correct?
I'm a certified visionary dream coach. And I think what is wonderful about the new DTP Business Strategies is a lot of time the CEOs of business owners haven't even taken time to really think, what do they really want to happen to their business? So with the software, I can tell them exactly what can happen. And then later on, I can talk with them. Well, what are your dreams about it? And what do you want to have in your life, not just your business? Because I meet a lot of CEO and business owners that are too invested in the business and they don't have time for the things that really matter to them, which are their family.
I'm raising my hand over here. Guilty as charged. So I feel like, and I've spoken to other women specifically, that there is a lot of pressure for the business to succeed. And in order to succeed, we have to be hands-on and involved 7 days a week. I was just thinking today, I haven't missed a holiday. I mean, I've missed every holiday. I work every single day. And so I don't know what else I've been missing outside of in terms of a social life because I don't have one. But how do we actually take the step away from the business when we are the business?
Well, I think that first you have to hire somebody like me to kind of help you look at the work you are doing. And I see the work project activity addiction is very common in all of us that have created businesses. Because as you know, we were startups and then we started developing, and then we had changes in the economy with COVID and a lot of things. So there have been a lot of challenges for people, not just women, but anyone that's in business after COVID. And so what I would say is, I think it takes some time to assess, what do I really want as a business owner in my life? And through the years, I've learned so much about work project activity addiction and what not to do, that I can often help my business owners redefine how they're going to spend their time and work much more effectively. When I am tired, I do not work effectively, and I do not use my time effectively. And it's important for me to take time off.
Absolutely. I think self-care is really a big priority, and I do take time for that, and we hope that the other people out there watching do as well. So we hire you, we work with you, and we can dream and we can actually put things into place. So if I were to say to you, and of course I'm just putting you on the spot as we're on live, I want to be the next Oprah. That's what my dream is. And I give you the information about my businesses and where we stand. Then what would be some of the next steps that we would take to work together?
Thank you for that question too. I think the first thing is if you want to be the next Oprah, then what I would say is we need to look at your do the visionary dream coaching first, and then look specifically at what all your dreams are and formulate those, get the strategies to meet the financial dream that you want to do in order to be Oprah. And then also decide on the way to create a group of people that we call the dream coaching group, where you have friends that support you in developing your primary dream. One of the interesting things is once you've started developing the financial dream, then other things in your life will change and your other dreams will change as well. Once that happens, then I can always take you through the Deep Dive 40 and show you exactly what we can do in your business. And the neat thing is I have a lot of resources, which I'd like to talk more about in order to tell people what really happens when you start working with me.
Fantastic. And I'd love to hear about the resources as well. So please do share.
Okay. Well, I think one of the things is I've worked in 60 different industries, so I have a lot of knowledge about businesses. But I think what I do with the software, because it does such a great analysis of the 40 areas where we need to create revenue and profits, that what happens is it provides a roadmap about how I'm going to do things and to really separate myself out from my competitors by creating a totally different way to market and strategize to do my business. One of the things that I've found particularly that's extremely helpful is I started using the conversion equation. Now, I'm not going to tell you all the parts of it because you're going to have to call me and find out what the parts are. But with the conversion equation and the way I'm doing advertising, or also even doing my podcasts and my newsletters. Previously, I had an opening rate between 12 and 14, which is kind of average. I have a rate now of openings between 22 and 25. So what I've learned through the process of being a part of the coaching organization and also studying the software, I found a very different way to market. So that's something that I would mention. But there are other things I could name to you, Dr. Jackalyn.
Thank you, Dr. Jackalyn. And I think marketing is an area that many of us get tripped up on, especially with social media. I've interviewed a number of people, specifically women, who have talked about the fact that they're trying to be everything to everyone and they're trying to be everywhere. We actually have to figure out who our audience is. Isn't that correct?
Right. And one of the things that I think is great about it is I have 52 weeks of e-learning that is a part of the software. And what happens is through the e-learning, I can take you to specific e-learnings as well as other resources I have, which means I can take you through lessons to determine what is your niche market. And I have so many business owners saying to me, I don't know how to identify my niche market. I've been told to do that so many times and I can't find it. Well, I've got the e-learnings that can be used to educate you about it. I then have lessons to take you through. And I literally have $1 million library that has all kinds of things that offer you ways to market yourself. So you're not going to be spending as much money with a marketing expert. You're going to be learning how to do those things yourself and really driving your own business.
Thank you, Doctor. And I'm wondering, how has your work in this area helped you grow and you fulfill your dreams?
Well, first of all, when COVID came around, I lost 75% of my business because I do training, coaching. And now the coaching was fine because I could do it online and I'd already been doing that. But training was something that people thought they couldn't do unless it was in person. That's not true. I do very effective training online. But the thing was, we had to make, some major changes. And so what I realized is once I started making the changes that were necessary and then coming out of COVID, I think what has happened now is with the new software, the new resources I have, with a way of combining it with all the other things I know about changing organizations and culture, then I have a much greater capacity to look at a total aspect of an organization and help the business owners really see what is possible for them.
So you are like an extension of their team.
Yes. And I look at it that way because I think it's really important for me to understand that when I walk into a business, it's their business, it's not mine. I do bring a number of expertise, though, and things that they don't want to spend time getting trained on. Yet I have the capacity to train them or our team of in a organization so that they can follow through and do the things that I have the capacity to teach them and then implement them in the system. It's made a major difference right now in DTP Business Strategies and DTP Leadership. We're looking at both sides of the business and creating a much greater understanding through the conversion equation about how to develop a way to market ourselves and really be very competitive and the person that people want to buy from rather than some of my competitors.
Thank you again, Doctor. When you speak of the conversion equation for people who are interested in finding out more, what is it that they're converting from and then to?
Well, let me tell you what it is. And I'm glad you asked that, and I'll share it with you. I think the thing that people don't understand is websites and a lot of things we put out in marketing do not catch the customer's eye because it does not address them. So the thing I've learned with the conversion equation is the first thing is I've got to have a powerhouse headline that addresses a hot button for one of my customer base of my niche. I then have to, in my subheadline, I have to give them a way to understand how I can benefit them in a very short statement. I then have to have a way to give them 3, 4, 5 points about what I'm going to be doing and educating them about what the possibilities are. And then I have to make a really compelling offer. And so through using the conversion equation and really evaluating all my marketing and all the things I'm doing as I present myself, it just makes a major difference. It has doubled the number of openings I have, just on my podcast.
Congratulations. That is super exciting. We also have a comment from Gaffa. Hi, nice to have you with us today. Just tuning in. Good afternoon, watching live from Ghana. Very exciting. So, what about our global audience? Does this work that you do translate across the world, or is it basically for US based clients?
It is not based for just US based clients. The organization that I'm a part of, the coaching organization, and all the time I spend in learning about their resources and the software and so forth is worldwide. My first coach was in Kenya. My second was in Jamaica. My third was in England. And now I have one in the United States. So this has been tested all over the world. And I meet people all the time in various parts of the world and how they're using this. And so I think it's easily translated to any organization.
That's great news for our global audience. Fantastic. A question I have, I want to go back to what you just mentioned. I know specifically for developing websites, the upper third, that when somebody lands on your website, that is vitally important real estate. And I know with the 2 websites that I have, and I'm going to be building a 3rd one, that it's tough. It's tough to come up with that hook to get people interested, to then convert them to a sale in some regard. And I think that many people don't even realize how important that part of your website is, because somebody will come to that website, look at it, and then they'll just be gone because there's nothing that grabs their interest. So working with you and using this process, that is one of the outcomes that can be derived. Is that correct?
That's correct. Because I think I'm learning about, and there are 4 excellent e-learnings that I have, and then lessons on how to build your website differently. But what I am learning is, and we're going to be changing our website. Right now, all I'm going to do is add some landing pages to attract people based on my new knowledge. The other thing I'm going to do is do squeeze pages, where I literally utilize the conversion equation and then have a way to attract people that's very different than anything I've done in the past.
Doctor, we actually have your website pulled up. Would you like me to share this?
Yes, please do.
Okay, fantastic.
And I'd love to hear from people. And as I mentioned to you, Dr. Jackalyn, I'm offering some really excellent offerings. And it's interesting because one of my clients for Visionary Dream Coaching is the first one you've got up there. And Bob's story is fascinating, and I would encourage you to listen to it. But I do think that the offer I want to do today, because I'm on your show, is I'm going to offer a real reduction in the Deep Dive 40 and give it to you for $17.97, where it's usually $2,500. The other thing I want to mention too is I do not charge you anything to spend an hour and a half with you and show you at least 5 areas of the Deep Dive 40. If you will simply email me, I will send you the short little 1-page questionnaire I have, and I'll be happy to talk to you. And then I have some great things that I'm doing. I'm doing a reduction of almost $800 on one of the plans that I have for working with an organization.
And for people who might be listening to the show as opposed to watching it, Dr. Jackalyn's email address is her first name, JACALYN at DTP-leadership.com. You can also phone her at 713-202-6884, and that's in the US. All right, I'm over here on the website. Where shall I go?
I think that currently that's the old website that we're trying to do something with, and we haven't had a chance to do that. And I have your interview that I did a week ago, and I'm going to be putting that up as a landing page. I'm going to make a lot of changes, and we just haven't had time to do that, Dr. Jackalyn. So what I would encourage people to do is to call me or to contact me through my website or contact me through my email, and then I can send them all kinds of information. I'm also on LinkedIn, so you can search for me there.
Wonderful. Thank you. So we have a few more minutes left in the interview. I wanted to ask you, you just mentioned about your own website. And I know with mine, I try to get over there once a month or so. How often should we be updating our websites?
I think that we need to update it at least once a month and put something new on, because if we don't, then people are not going to pay attention to us. Because when you make a change, then they're notified, and it makes a difference. I do think, though, that the 4 e-learnings I've had have really changed the way I look at our website. And so, because I think that landing pages and squeeze pages and then having videos and all kinds of things that are slightly different from what we have right now is much better. And I want to address the hot buttons that my clients have. And I have a long list of them that I can give you some of the examples of them if you would like.
Absolutely. Please. Are you going to share them now, or you want people to call and get them?
No, I'll be happy to share some of them.
Thank you.
because the hot buttons, I have to know those in order to attract my customer base and to be able to have a headline that hits those individuals. And what I can do with squeeze pages is I can list a number of the hot buttons that I know. But one of the things that I hear all the time from the people I'm getting that want to work with DTP Business Strategies is they'll say, how do I generate more revenue? And what strategies do you have? Well, I have all those things I've just named to you that are possibilities. Another thing that I get is people say, I don't know what to do with social media. There's so many different avenues. What do you think I ought to do? We go through the lessons on social media. They think what they want to do. And then, of course, I have some additional resources that I recommend because I have some people that I work with that I think are excellent in social media. Another thing is people will say to me, I've been developing leads for years, but then they don't convert. And I'll say, well, I have lessons and a lot of things I can share with you that we can go through that will teach you what you're doing with your leads that are not helpful and what you can do with them so you can convert them into clients that will really follow through. And another thing I've heard a lot too is they'll say, I spend so much money on marketing and it's not just bringing what I want, and it hasn't brought me what I want. The more you understand marketing, and that's what I can do with you, is to teach you through the e-learnings, the lessons, and also the $1 Million Library. You're going to learn so many things that you can do a lot of your marketing yourself. You may choose to add someone else, but I have some people that I would recommend that understand the process of using the conversion equation and really making marketing exciting and so compelling that you're going to beat your your competitors.
Lots of great resources and information that you have. A question that comes to mind, and I've had this conversation with so many business owners, and when I speak to men as opposed to women, it's a completely different story, is we convert someone and yet we give away the business because we don't perceive our own value. So how do we price the services that we provide? And we have an idea of what we think our value is and what we think we should be getting. We put it out there, and then maybe we don't get the conversion rate that we want. So then we drop the price. Then it looks like we're giving away for free, and then there's no value.
Right. And I think that's, I think women, our biggest problem is we care. And we are, most of us are very emotionally connected. So we get involved with our clients, and that's what allows us to keep clients longer sometimes than some of my male counterparts. I teach a lot of men how to be emotionally connected so that they can relate to their employees and also relate more to their customer base. I think as women, we have to make a decision about what we are worth to really investigate it. And one of the things that I love about the e-learnings and the lessons I have from the software is I have a whole section on how to raise your prices. And it has made a dramatic change in the way I'm pricing myself. And they've done so much research, this company has, that they have ways that they utilize things. A very simple thing is instead of doing $9.99 or $9.99 as a cost for something, they've learned that 95 or 97 people are going to buy more from, because the 99 they see as kind of a manipulative process that the business is trying to get something out of me, and they're putting it at the very highest rate where they could have moved into the next set of numbers. So I think there's a lot that I can teach people about raising prices, evaluating themselves, and I have a way to evaluate what you're pricing now and what is the impact. There is a formula that I use that I think gives you a much greater understanding of what you're doing with your pricing. It certainly helped me.
I think that's fascinating about the 999, 997, 995. And to your earlier point about leading with our hearts, because that's what we do. I found that that's an area that it's sort of like a tightrope. It's kind of balancing between, I want to be your friend and I want to understand what your financial situation is, what you can afford. And I also have bills to pay. So I always find myself stuck there. But when I look at what the competitors are doing, what I paid to get started in this business, what I charge is a fraction of that. And yet I feel okay about it because I feel I'm giving more people an opportunity to share their story. But when I talk to my male counterparts, they tell me I'm out of my mind, that it's all about the dollar.
Well, you know, the thing of it is that I think women have that makes a difference. And the reason we're excellent business owners is because we are emotionally connected to our customer base and we really want to know more. So what they see is someone that truly values them and cares about who they are and what's happening in their business. So I think those are qualities that we bring as as women leaders, that I think really accelerates our achievements and also makes us great business owners. And I think too, I I just have to look at what is the balance. I have about 5 people that I take yearly. They really can't afford what I have to offer. And I do that because it's a way of me giving back to the community. But once I've done the 5, or I have 5 that I'm working with for a year or 2, then I don't add more. And it's my way of saying I'm worth what I charge. And it's important for me to respect myself. And the quality of the programs I offer, they are so different from my competitors because I can offer more quality. That's the reason I can offer higher prices.
I love what you just shared there, that you will take on up to 5 people who cannot afford what you're
Mhm.
doing. And that's really the charitable part. That's the emotional part. And yet the business part of you says, okay, that's that. It's up to 5, no more. That makes a lot of sense.
And another thing I do, Dr. Jackalyn, too, is I have friends that really value my work. So if I have someone that needs some help, then I often can call one of my friends and say, well, I've got a 6th person and I really have a concern about not doing this, but my maximum was 6. But I do have friends that will be supportive and do that. Another thing is, I really believe that people, when they pay for what they're getting, they see the quality and the many things that I can offer them, which increases the quality when they work with me. Then they're going to look away from my competitors and say, this woman has been in business for 47 years and she has every kind of business that can address what's happening in my life as a whole, not just my business. So I'm going to go with Dr. Jackalyn RAINOSEK.
I love that. What a great way to close out this show. That was brilliant. So
Thank you.
for people who want to reach out to you, who would you like to contact you and what's the best way?
If you are interested in looking at your business and you would like to spend an hour and a half with me that it does not cost you, then you need to either email me, would be the easiest way, or you can go to my website and you'll have an email there and I will get it. I will then give you my Calendly link when we can get together for an hour and a half. And then I will ask you to fill out my 1-page information sheet about your revenue, about your gross and net profit, and about the history of your business. And then we can get started, and I will show you at least 4 or 5 areas in that hour and a half of the 40. And then you can decide from there.
And doctor, does the business owner have to be in business for 5 years, or is there any minimum?
I would like to have someone that has maybe been in business 2 or 3 years. I take only a small amount of people right now because I'm super busy. But if you have a startup that you are working on and you've been in it for 6 months to a year, then I will be happy to talk to you and give you the information. Because what I love about doing with startups have great ideas. They just need the structure that I think the software and the e-learnings and the lessons and the library that I have will really help them with. But it doesn't matter. It can be a small, medium, or large business. I go up to, when I say large, I usually go up to 50 to 60 million.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and expertise with us today. We'll look forward to having you back. And I want to wish you an early happy birthday and a great
Thank
rest
you.
of your day. Thank you. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. I really appreciated it.
You too. Bye-bye. And thank you to everyone who is out there watching or listening, whether it's on the live or the replay. Please do reach out to Dr. Jackalyn. You can go to her website, which we've been posting. I'll put it up again. You can also go over to LinkedIn. She's on social media platforms. That's why people come here, because they want you to contact them. So please do so. All right. Our next show is coming up. It's the Business Talk Show with Mr. Al Cini and our special guest. So wherever you are watching from, please do stay there. We have a full day of broadcasting today, back-to-back shows all day, and we'll look forward to seeing you there. If you'd like to be a guest on any of our shows, please go over to our website, which is usaglobaltv.com, and book your session. Thanks again. We'll see you shortly. Bye.